Victor Reznov. Narrated by Jesse Levine. Good evening, everyone. This is your host, and I'm glad to see just the absolute output of Call of Duty games. Always makes me happy to see. It's amazing. I see a lot of people saying Black Ops 7 is lazy. I see a lot of people saying Black Ops 7 is dumb. But I want to pose a counterpoint to this. You know, after playing through the entirety of Black Ops 8, I was just absolutely floored. And I don't think a lot of people have really seen this perspective. So really, what is war? I think that's something we have to go back to the first Call of Duty about. What is war and how does it define us as people? Why is war so impactful? So, war is scary, and I get very scared all the time. That's why Five Nights at Freddy's is one of the biggest wars I've ever fought. Now, with that being said, real life war is very scary, and that's why we make games about it, so that we understand war is serious and not really stupid. There are a couple of scenes that you can unlock in Black Ops 7 by doing a few secrets, and they really add to the storytelling. Now, is it annoying that these are actually hidden secrets in order to get the full story? Yes, but they actually imply a lot of things in the story that were seemingly lacking. Like Raul Menendez, one of my favorite characters. You know, he goes like, Josefina! He does that all the time. That's a classic Raul Menendez line. But when you take Raul Menendez, you see like the one where he's like, rah! Ah! And you're like, wow, that's kind of silly. But it's actually to personify his feelings after going to Taco Bell. Now, you might be wondering what that even has to do with war and how that's even important. Well, do you know the inside of your body is a war in of itself? Do you know there's combat going on daily in there? There's a lot of war that goes inside me too. I reheated up spaghetti. I'm like, man, I hope I don't poop it in my pants. But that really goes to show you how scary war is, because that was absolutely horrifying and terrible to have to spend 3 hours on the toilet. Raul Menendez spent 6 hours on the toilet. And don't you think that says a lot about the human condition, that we are forced to consume over and over and over again, only to have horrible ways to expunge it? And that's essentially what war is. We have to be forced to do something in order to survive. We have to beat each other like what is it, apes holding rocks and just bashing each other's heads in with rocks, because what we must expunge is our own ineptitude to survive. But the Taco Bell example is just to tee it up, right? That's not the big backbreaker here that's like, this is the new Raul Menendez and this is how he's been affected all of these years. So he's been in prison, right? And you know what prison does to people? I don't know. I haven't been to prison yet. You know, all that tax evading has still kept me afloat all these years. You won't find me, United States government, nor will the Canadian government for that matter. I live in a very remote part of the world called Australia, where the Americans and Canadians cannot get me to collect my tax dollars. But Raul Menendez, he wasn't tax evading. So that means during all those years in prison, he was collecting taxes over and over and over again, which is a horrifying thought. You have no way to help pay off those taxes while you're in prison. The government seizes your assets. And so when you get out of prison, you have to pay taxes, which really shows the horror of war. No matter how much you fought, things like that will always follow with you. And so first, the Taco Bell establishes, you know, the gut-wrenching feeling inside of you that you can't really get rid of. Sure, you can get rid of it temporarily, but it will always be back, because as humans, we always have to take something in and always have to push something out. We always consume. Now, the example with taxes is to say, so the Taco Bell is the inside. The taxes are kind of the outside. They reflect like that outer body image, your ability to purchase goods and things of that nature. But taxes cripple you in many different ways besides your interior. Now, while eating food is very important and you should really do it, money is used for a lot of things, not just food. So besides like hurting your insides, you're hurting like your style, you're hurting the quality of your mouthwash. your scented candles that you get at the store. And it really shows a lot about the human condition as well. Again, Raul Menendez is a person who was created. He was not born that way. Josefina, Taco Bell, taxes, they just keep piling on and on. Also the events of Black Ops 2, you know, that would also count. But the taxes are the destruction of the outside image, you see. So the Taco Bell is your insides. The taxes are your outside image. And once you have like $0, that outside image crumbles. So essentially, war breaks you on the inside and on the outside. You're desensitized to war in Call of Duty, you know? This really brings it back to a more human state, to where you can really digest it and understand it. And so the last one I have to go over is the giant Raul Menendez and what that means. So he actually took a lot of steroids, and that's why he's like that, actually. That is the secret. He did a lot of steroids. And that's to say that things can always get worse than how they are. So the Taco Bell incident and then also the taxes incident, they were bad, and they really defined Raul Menendez. But the steroids, they show that he can always go worse, that he can never really get better as long as he's on this path. He is stuck. And that kind of says a lot about war, right? We can feel like we're stuck and we're on a path that we really can't get off of. And we just feel like we're just getting worse because we can't stop what ails us. And what ails us, whether that be like trauma from war, things like that, in our darkest moments, they will turn us into monsters of human beings. We are all human, and we all start out as like goo goo gaga, ooh ah wah wah, as they say. We're all nice, cute, and cuddly. But war shows us that humanity is capable of so much evil. We are capable of so much destruction in life. And when you see it so often, you can feel like you're almost desensitized to it. Like just seeing it on the news. Like Raul Menendez, he's like, I've seen so much violence. But we really needed to humanize Raul Menendez so we can really sit back and understand war once again. Because if we don't take a step back, what we see is war is a bunch of flashy colors that don't really mean a lot of things. But when we see the human side of Raul Menendez with his Taco Bell experience, him having to pay taxes after prison, and his steroid use, we start to understand the human that is behind Raul Menendez. Raul. And it goes to reflect the absolute tragedy of war, that sometimes we can't be helped. It's very difficult to help people who are on such a downward spiral. Only they can help themselves. And in an environment like war, it can lead them to some of their worst tendencies. And they can end up doing things that are unforgivable, pushing them into a path that makes them unredeemable as people. And so I want to say my issue with Black Ops 7 is that they hid these cutscenes and they really take away from Raul Menendez as a character and what he was really meant to be. Because I feel like he's a little bland without those cutscenes. We really need to understand the human side to the monster to see how he became the way he was. And just to say that for all the people who aren't giving Black Ops 7 a chance, I get it. But if you have the chance to look at some of the cutscenes and see that, you can really see the beautiful tale that Black Ops 7 was trying to say about war. And I hope many people are able to at least carry this lesson into the future, because we have to understand as people that bad things will happen to us. They are inevitable. But we will either be broken or made by those choices. And we can be set on a dark path or a path that at least is trying to go upwards. You know, it won't always be easily fixed, but at least we're trying to become better. Now, thank you for listening to my Black Ops 8 thingy-majig. Man, I can't wait till Black Ops 7 comes out.